yourself for lies.
It was a Tuesday evening, exactly 7:14 p.m., when the foundation of my 6-year marriage didn't just crack, it evaporated. We were sitting at the kitchen table, the same one we'd bought on sale 5 years earlier because solid wood means commitment, she'd said at the time. A plastic container of Chinese takeout sat between us, steam long gone, the food reduced to lukewarm obligation. This was our routine: eat, scroll, exist side by side. I was halfway through explaining a logistics problem at the warehouse, something about delayed shipments and overtime scheduling, when I realized she hadn't responded once, not even a nod. Her eyes were glued to her phone. Tap, scroll, pause, smile. I stopped mid-sentence. "You hear me?" I asked. "Mm-hmm," she replied without looking up. That was when she set the phone face down on the table, slowly, deliberately, like someone closing a book they'd already finished reading. Then she met my eyes with a confidence that didn't belong in the room. It wasn't nervous. It wasn't guilty. It was rehearsed. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," she said. Those words, the universal preface to destruction. I leaned back slightly in my chair. "That so?" She folded her hands, calm as a therapist delivering a diagnosis. "I love our life, the house, the stability, what we've built." A pause, carefully measured. "But I don't think it's enough anymore." My chest tightened, but my face stayed still. "What are you saying?" I asked. She exhaled, as if I were the difficult one here. "I think we should open our marriage." The sentence hung between us, heavy and absurd. "Open it?" I repeated. "Yes, ethically, honestly." She nodded, convincing herself with every word. "I need to explore other connections to truly be happy. That doesn't mean I don't love you." I stared at her. 6 years of shared bills, shared holidays, shared plans, all reduced to a loophole she wanted me to sign off on. "You want to sleep with other people," I said flatly, "and still come home to this." She bristled. "That's an oversimplification." "Is it?" "I'm not asking for permission to cheat," she insisted. "I'm asking for freedom, growth." There it was. Not us, not we, just her evolution, with me subsidizing the journey. I felt something unexpected settle over me. Not rage, not heartbreak. Relief. A strange, quiet clarity. I could have raised my voice, could have asked who, or how long, or was he texting you right now? I could have reminded her of vows, of loyalty, of everything we promised each other under soft lighting and borrowed optimism. Instead, I picked up my fork. "Okay," I said. She blinked. "Okay, what?" "Okay," I repeated, scooping up fried rice. "If that's what you need." Her eyebrows knitted together. "That's it?" I chewed slowly, thoughtfully. "Did you want a speech?" "Aren't you angry?" she asked. "Don't you have questions?" I swallowed. "I think you've already answered them." She leaned forward, suddenly unsettled. "You're not even going to fight for us?" I met her eyes for the first time since she'd made her proposal. "You're not fighting for us. You're negotiating an exit with benefits." Silence. She opened her mouth, then closed it. "I thought you'd understand." "I do," I said calmly. "You want your freedom." A flicker of relief crossed her face. "So we're really doing this?" I nodded. "Looks like it." She smiled then, small, victorious. She thought she'd won, thought this was her moment of empowerment. She didn't notice me mentally cataloging everything. The joint accounts, the deed, the prenup clause she'd brushed off years ago. The quiet advantage of being the one who stayed calm while she revealed her hand. She thought she was playing chess. I was already 3 moves ahead. Because the moment she asked to open the marriage, she closed something else entirely. And she wouldn't realize what she'd lost until all that freedom echoed back at her, empty, expensive, and alone. The next morning, I woke up at 5:30 a.m., a full hour before her alarm, with a sharpness in my mind I hadn't felt in years. No dread, no heaviness, just clarity. I stood in the bathroom, the lights still off, the faint gray of dawn leaking through the window. My reflection stared back at me, dark circles, tense jaw, shoulders permanently hunched. A man who had slowly convinced himself that exhaustion was normal, that being constantly depleted was just the cost of commitment. That man was gone. I turned on the sink, splashed cold water on my face, and said quietly to my reflection, "You're done surviving." In the kitchen, the coffee maker hummed to life. She was still asleep, curled toward the empty side of the bed like nothing had changed. I watched the hallway for a moment, half expecting guilt to creep in. It didn't. By the time I pulled into the office parking lot, I'd already made 2 calls. The first was to the bank. "Good morning, this is Clara. How can I help you today?" the representative said, cheerful and unsuspecting. "I need to separate a joint savings account," I replied. My voice was steady. "Transfer 50% into a new account under my name." There was a pause. "May I ask the reason for the transfer?" "Change in marital priorities," I said. Another pause. Keyboard clicks. Then, "That is completely within your rights, sir." As she read back the new balance, a strange calm washed over me. No anger, no triumph, just finality. The account labeled "Our Futures" no longer applied. Futures, it turns out, can diverge quietly. The second call was to Mr. Smith. His office sat downtown on the 4th floor of an impressive marble and steel building. Inside, everything smelled like old books and polished wood, authority you could breathe in. He motioned for me to sit, scanning my intake form with practiced speed. "So," he said, folding his hands, "tell me what brings you here." "My wife wants an open marriage," I replied. "She says she wants freedom, growth, other connections." Smith let out a slow breath. "And what do you want?" "I want the terms honored," I said. "She changed them. I'm taking her at her word." That earned a thin smile. "I've seen this pattern before," he said, leaning back and tapping his pen against a yellow legal pad. "The spouse who asks for an open marriage usually isn't looking for growth. They're looking for permission to act single without consequences. They want a safety net while they test the waters." I nodded. "That tracks." They assume their partner will stay put, pay the bills, keep the house running, be emotionally available. And if things don't work out, he shrugged, they come back. "So what do I do?" I asked. Smith's eyes sharpened. "You make their choice real." He slid a notepad toward me. "Use the next few days to get your ducks in a row. Financial records, property valuations, secure personal documents, and find somewhere else to live." I frowned slightly. "Move out?" "Yes," he said without hesitation. "If she wants to act single, give her the full experience. No roommate, no fallback, no emotional support on demand." He paused, then added, "And one more thing. Don't argue, don't explain. Silence is incredibly unsettling to someone who expects control." I left his office with a manila folder under my arm and a strange sense of momentum. That evening, when I got home, she was in the kitchen again, same spot as the night before. She looked up as I set my keys down. "You've been quiet today," she said. "Busy," I replied. She studied me. "So, have you thought more about what we talked about?" I met her gaze, calm and unreadable. "Yes." Her shoulders relaxed. "And?" "I think you should do whatever makes you happy," I said. She smiled, relieved. "I knew you'd come around." I smiled back, just barely. She still thought this was an arrangement. She had no idea it was a conclusion, and I was done correcting her. For the next week, I became a student of my own life, an observer in a house that no longer felt like home. My wife was transformed, practically glowing with the excitement of her new chapter. She started hitting the gym, buying designer clothes she previously claimed we couldn't afford, and her phone was constantly buzzing with messages from the girls or mysterious new friends. I watched her apply makeup with meticulous precision for a networking event on a Thursday night. In the old days, I would have showered her with compliments or asked when she'd be home. Now, I just glanced up from my book and said, "Have fun." "You're being weirdly quiet lately," she said, pausing at the door with a defiant smirk. "Are you sure you're okay with our new arrangement?" "I'm fine," I said, letting her sit in the silence. "Priorities are personal, remember? I'm just focusing on mine." The lack of reaction was driving her crazy. She wanted me to be the jealous, controlling husband she could complain to her friends, but instead, I was a ghost, cordial, detached, and entirely self-sufficient. While she was out exploring, I was at Home Depot buying boxes. I found a small one-bedroom apartment 20 minutes across town, bare walls, minimal furniture, but it smelled like freedom. I paid 3 months in advance in cash, ensuring there was no digital paper trail she might stumble upon. I began moving my things in secret during my lunch breaks: tools, books, my grandfather's watch, and the photo albums from before we got married. Every trip to the storage unit felt like shedding a layer of weight I'd been carrying for a lifetime. The evaluation period she had announced with the confidence of a middle manager reviewing quarterly performance came to its climax on a Saturday evening. She stood in the bedroom doorway, dressed with intentional care, hair done, makeup subtle but strategic, a new dress she hadn't worn for me once in the last year. I sat on the edge of the bed, tying my shoes, watching her move with the excitement of someone stepping into a life she was sure would be better. "So," she said casually, "I'm going on my first official date tonight." I looked up. "Official?" She smiled. "You know, no ambiguity, honest, transparent." She paused, waiting for a reaction that didn't come. "It's a guy from my yoga class, Jake." "Jake," I repeated. "Yeah, he works in accounting or finance or something," she laughed lightly. "He's very grounded." I nodded, standing up. "That's important." She turned toward the hallway mirror, adjusting her earrings. "Don't wait up," she added, checking her reflection from different angles. "I might be really late." "I won't," I said, handing her a glass of water as she reached for her purse. "Enjoy your freedom." She froze for half a second, studying my face, trying to read something: jealousy, bitterness, fear. There was nothing to read. "Huh," she said. "You're taking this really well." "Am I?" I asked. She shrugged. "I guess I underestimated you." "Most people do," I replied. The front door closed softly behind her. No dramatic slam, no hesitation. As soon as her Honda Civic rounded the corner, its headlights disappearing down the street, I exhaled for what felt like the first time in years. And I got to work. I moved through the house efficiently, almost clinically. The things I cared about were already staged: clothes, books, personal documents, framed photos I'd taken myself. Not the wedding photos, just mine. The movers came quietly, professionally, as if they'd done this exact scenario 100 times before. By 9 p.m., the house was hollow, emptied of anything that had ever belonged to me. No clutter, no warmth, just furniture and echoes. On the kitchen counter, I placed a single vase of white roses. Simple, neutral, unarguable. Beside it, a manila envelope with her name written neatly across the front. Inside, signed divorce papers. No note, no explanation. I locked the door for the last time and didn't look back. 2 hours later, I sat in my new living room, beer in hand, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city like a quiet witness. The place was sparse, but it felt honest, mine. At 11:45 p.m., my phone buzzed. I didn't pick it up immediately. I already knew. First text: "Where are you? Some of our stuff is missing. Have we been robbed?" Second text, 2 minutes later: "It looks like only your things are gone. What did you do? Call me back. This isn't funny." I imagined her standing in the kitchen, panic replacing confidence, heels kicked off, makeup smeared just slightly. Jake from accounting suddenly very irrelevant. Third text, longer, desperate: "I found the envelope. You filed for divorce? Are you serious right now? You're actually leaving me over this?" I took a slow sip of my beer. No anger, no satisfaction. Just peace. She had wanted freedom without consequences, independence without loss, an open door she could walk through knowing I'd still be standing in the same place when, if ever, she came back. I didn't respond, because I had already answered her. I had given her exactly what she asked for: complete independence. And for the first time since that Tuesday night at 7:14 p.m., I slept better than I had in years. The next morning, her mother called at 8:06 a.m. I knew it was coming. When someone loses control, they outsource pressure. I answered on the third ring. "What did you do?" her mother demanded, practically screaming into the phone. "She's at my house having a breakdown. She hasn't slept. She's crying nonstop. You can't just throw away a marriage over a misunderstanding." I took a sip of coffee in my quiet new kitchen, the sound of the mug touching the counter echoing softly. "It wasn't a misunderstanding," I said evenly. "She wanted to explore life without the constraints of being a wife. I simply removed the constraints." There was a sharp inhale. "That's not how marriage works." "It's exactly how her version worked." "She has no money," her mother snapped. "Her card was declined at the hotel last night." I paused, letting that land where it belonged. "That sounds like a her problem," I said. "Single people are responsible for their own bills. She told me I wasn't her priority, so I stopped subsidizing her lifestyle." Silence. Then, softer, strategic. "She didn't mean it like that." She said it, and then she left for a date. The line went dead shortly after. The next few weeks unfolded like a textbook. First came anger. She sent paragraphs at a time, accusations wrapped in outrage. "You blindsided me. You humiliated me. Everyone thinks you're the villain." One message stood out. "You didn't even give me a chance to explain." I typed a response once, deleted it. Explanations were for people still negotiating. Then came bargaining. Her tone softened. The words slowed down. "We can close the marriage. We can start fresh. "I'll stop talking to Jake. I already blocked him." That one almost made me laugh. Jake from accounting, apparently, had not been worth losing a marriage over. A week later, she left a voicemail. Her voice was smaller now, cracked. "I made a mistake," she sobbed. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. I just wanted to see if you'd fight for me. I needed to know I still mattered." I listened once, then deleted it. Because that was the truth she hadn't meant to say out loud. She didn't want partnership. She wanted leverage. Then came the strategic remorse. She showed up at my office unannounced one afternoon, standing in the lobby like a memory I'd already outgrown. When I stepped out of the elevator and saw her, she rushed forward. "Please," she said, grabbing my arm, "just talk to me." I gently removed her hand. "This isn't appropriate." "5 minutes," she pleaded. "I'll do counseling. I'll sign whatever you want. I'll change." I looked at her, really looked. The woman who had once sat across from me and calmly asked for an escape hatch, confident I'd still be waiting when she returned. "You already changed," I said. "I just finally caught up." Her eyes flashed. "So that's it? 6 years and you just walk away?" "You walked away first," I replied. "You just expected me to stay." That was when the mask slipped. "You're punishing me," she snapped. "This is about control." I shook my head. "No, this is about consent. You rewrote the contract without my agreement." She laughed bitterly. "You think you're some hero now?" "No," I said calmly. "I think I'm done." Security escorted her out. The final attempt came through a mutual friend. "She's really struggling," he said carefully. "She says you're being cold." "I'm being consistent," I replied. "She just wants closure." I paused. Closure is something people ask for when they don't like the outcome. By then, the divorce process was already moving forward. Accounts were separated, the house was going to be listed. The narrative she'd tried to control was slipping through her fingers. She had wanted an open marriage. What she got was a closed chapter. And the hardest lesson she would learn, the one no one had warned her about, was this: you don't get to put someone on standby and still expect them to be there when you're done experimenting. I wasn't her backup plan. I wasn't her safety net. And I certainly wasn't her test. At first, she tried to control the story. She told friends we had grown apart, that I had emotionally checked out, that the current separation had been mutual. It worked for about a week. Then reality started asking inconvenient questions. Why had the joint savings suddenly vanished, legally vanished? Why was the house already listed? Why were the papers already filed? People noticed the timeline didn't add up. At a small dinner with mutual friends, someone asked casually, "So, how long were you two talking about separating?" She hesitated. "We weren't, exactly." Another friend frowned. "Then why was he already gone the night you went out?" Silence followed, the kind that doesn't accuse, but remembers. The cracks widened online. She posted vague quotes at first. "Sometimes the people who claim to love you abandon you when you grow. Loyalty shouldn't feel like a cage." The comments came quickly. "Stay strong. Men fear strong women. You deserve happiness." Then someone asked, too plainly to ignore, "Didn't you ask for an open marriage first?" She deleted the comment. Someone else reposted it. The real collapse came at brunch. One of her closest friends, the one who'd always defended her, finally pressed. "Just be honest," she said quietly over coffee. "Did you already have someone lined up?" She laughed too quickly. "No, it was just an idea." "Then why did you go on a date the same night he moved out?" Her smile froze. "I didn't think he'd actually leave," she admitted, voice dropping. "I thought he'd fight." There it was. The table went quiet. "So, you tested him," another friend said slowly. She bristled. "That's not fair." "It kind of is," someone replied. "You wanted options. He chose dignity." No one raised their voice. No one attacked her. They didn't need to. The story corrected itself. At work, the whispers followed. Jake from accounting stopped being a footnote and became a punchline. "So, how was freedom?" someone asked her lightly near the copier. She flushed. "It's complicated." "He moved fast," another coworker said. "Guess he already knew." She started taking lunches alone. She tried once more to reframe things publicly. A long post, carefully written. "People are oversimplifying what happened. Relationships are complex. Growth is messy." It lasted 3 hours before someone replied, "Growth doesn't usually come with divorce papers waiting on the counter." She deleted the post. After that, the silence turned against her. No more sympathy texts, no more "you okay?" check-ins. Just quiet distance. The kind that says, "We see you now." I heard about all of this secondhand. Mutual friends tried to update me gently, like I might still care. "I didn't ask," I told them, and I meant it. Because while she was busy rewriting captions, I was building a life that didn't require an audience. The last attempt to reclaim the narrative came in the form of an email. Subject line, "Please correct the lies." She wrote that people were being unfair, that she was being judged, that my silence was making her look worse. "Can you at least tell them this wasn't all my fault?" I read it once, then archived it. Because the truth didn't need defending. It was standing on its own. She had wanted control over the marriage, the terms, the outcome, the story. What she learned instead was something far more permanent. You can't curate reality when other people were there to witness it. And the version of her that finally reached the public, that wasn't the one she wanted seen. That was the one she had revealed herself to be. 6 months later, the divorce was finalized. Clean, efficient, and almost anticlimactic. No dramatic courtroom scenes, no last-minute pleas, just signatures on paper and the quiet end of something she once called brutally honest love. It was exactly what she said she wanted. My life, meanwhile, had changed in ways I never could have imagined back then. I lost 15 pounds, not because I was trying to reinvent myself, but because stress stopped eating me alive. The gym became routine instead of punishment. My mind cleared. At work, my performance spiked so noticeably that my boss called me into his office one afternoon. "You're different," he said, leaning back in his chair. "Sharper, present." "I finally have the bandwidth," I replied. 3 weeks later, I was promoted to senior manager. At home, I finished the woodworking project I'd abandoned years earlier, a solid oak table, sanded smooth, sturdy by design. I smiled when I realized I'd built something meant to last. I ran into her on a rainy Thursday afternoon at a coffee shop downtown. I recognized her instantly, though she looked diminished. Not physically broken, just worn down. Dark circles under her eyes. Shoulders tense, the kind of exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. She froze when she saw me. "Oh," she said quietly. "Hey." "Hey," I replied, genuinely calm. We stood there awkwardly until she gestured toward an empty table. "Do you want to sit for a minute?" I considered it, then nodded. She wrapped both hands around her cup like it was the only stable thing left in her life. "You look good," she said. "Healthy." "Thanks," I replied. "You too." She laughed softly. "You don't have to lie." Silence settled between us. Not uncomfortable, just final. "I'm working 2 jobs now," she said suddenly, "just to keep up with rent." "A studio?" I asked. She nodded. "Dating isn't what I thought it would be." A pause. "Turns out excitement doesn't pay bills." I didn't respond. I didn't need to. She looked up at me then, eyes searching. "Do you ever miss us?" I thought about it. Really thought. The tension, the anxiety, the quiet negotiations for affection. "No," I said honestly. "I don't." She flinched, then forced herself to ask the question she'd come there hoping for. "Do you think there's any chance we could try again?" she asked. "I've learned what really matters now." I looked at her, not with anger, not with triumph, but with clarity. I'm with someone who wanted me from day one. Someone who treats partnership like a collaboration, not a power play. Her voice cracked. I didn't know what I had. That was the problem. You needed to lose it to see it. She nodded slowly, tears welling but unshed. "I'm sorry." "I know, and I meant it." As I walked back to my car, rain tapping softly against the pavement, I felt something settle inside me. Not closure, not victory. Gratitude. Her request to open the marriage hadn't destroyed my life. It had exposed the truth. It forced me to stop negotiating for respect, to stop mistaking endurance for love, to stop accepting crumbs when I deserved a seat at the table. She thought she was asking for freedom. What she gave me was far greater. She gave me myself back. Thanks for listening to our story. It's wonderful to have you here. Please like and subscribe to have more content come your way, and do check out the other stories from our channel.